mean, the Speaker of the House basically abolished the House of Representatives during a time when, quite frankly, people are frightened to death over losing their health care premiums. And it really bothers me that there's not much support. So if Republicans are going to screw people over, at least they should show up. And they haven't worked for 8 weeks, they should show up. I move to adjourn, Madam Chair. I think people are tired of us saying that we can't fix problems. I mean, people want us to fix problems. They want us to clean up corruption. They want us to make sure people have health care. They want us to respect our veterans. They want the Epstein files released. And we, and what's happening around here is you got a lot of people who are trying to have the, do the double talk. Yeah, no, I'm with you, but we can't do it because of this, or we can't do it because of that. I mean, and so then nothing ever gets done. And I just want to say one thing about, there's been a lot of kind of negative talk about the Affordable Care Act, but I do want to point out, I mean, I believe we need a very different health care system in this country. But I do want to point out some of the good things about the Affordable Care Act. Again, it's polling at 64% favorability. Donald Trump is at 37% favorability. But just so people understand, the Affordable Care Act stops health insurance companies from charging sick people more in premiums than healthy people. It keeps those same health insurance companies from denying coverage to pregnant women, people with pre-existing medical conditions, or because of a person's medical history. It prohibits the health insurance industry from setting an annual or lifetime limit. It demands insurance companies cover most preventative services. It gives states the flexibility to expand their Medicaid programs, which 40 states have done. It provides financial assistance to working people to make health coverage more affordable. And it allows young adults to stay on their parents' insurance plans until they're 26. And those are just some of the provisions within the ACA that make it, quite frankly, popular with a lot of people. I wish the ACA went further. Some of us went during the debate, fought for a public option. We got frustrated by some of our colleagues in the Senate. But I just want people to understand that's what the ACA does. And again, I don't think, I would like to think that none of them are controversial. I don't know why my Republican friends don't like those things, but let me just say also, in addition, the last time Democrats were in control, we built on the progress made with the ACA. We allowed Medicare to negotiate prescription drug prices for the first time in history, saving both Medicare and the American people billions of dollars. Democrats capped the cost of insulin at $35 per month. We made signing up for health care coverage easier and more affordable. Democrats lowered premiums by an average of $800 per person per year. And over 4 years, nearly 12 million more Americans signed up for insurance on the ACA marketplace, bringing the total up to nearly 24 million in 2025. And so, I think my Republican colleagues have made this case as they've attacked us for these, for calling for the extension of the ACA, enhanced credits, is that we have always been a champion for providing additional assistance to help make health care more affordable for people. They have been on the other side. I want to thank them for reminding the American people that we're always on the side of trying to lower their costs and not reducing the quality of their care. And I just want to say one other thing, and I appreciate the chairwoman, getting animated over the fact that the Republicans were basically not around for 7 weeks. I mean, the Speaker of the House basically abolished the House of Representatives during a time when, quite frankly, people are frightened to death over losing their health care premiums. And it really bothers me that there's not much support. So if Republicans are going to screw people over, at least they should show up. And they haven't worked for 8 weeks, they should show up. I move to adjourn, Madam Chair.
Threw out speeches and then left. So there could be no dialogue. There could be no debate. And this is the only time that the House has to debate this bill. It feels like the Duma. It feels like the Duma. And you know what else it feels like? It feels like, back then when we were debating that big, beautiful bill that we all washed back here to vote for. Because they wanted us to make sure that we voted before July 4th for their big, beautiful bill. They could move heaven and earth. to make sure we got here, but they can't move heaven and earth to make sure we get tax credits for working families, to make sure that we eliminate this payola. Yes, I started calling it payola, and I looked up when I started calling it that. I was like, when I read that, when I first read that, I said, we got to get rid of this. Because what is a payola? Is it a bribe? Like, what did these senators get in return? Like, what were they giving up? And we keep saying 8 senators. I'm going to say their names. We have 8 senators. Senators Graham, Johnson, Senator Blackburn, Senator Loomis, Senator Haggerty, Senator Hawley, Senator Sullivan, and Senator Tuberville. Let's say their names. Let's make sure the American people know who will get millions of dollars, because each violation will give you $500,000. And so they can claim violation. And when we say violation, that sounds like something went wrong. Let's make sure the American people know these were subpoenas or inquiries by the FBI that were authorized by the courts, that were authorized by grand juries when they were looking into what happened around the January 6th insurrection. And the American people saw that this place was overrun by violent attackers. We were here. We were here. There were 140 law enforcement officers who went to the hospital. 140 police officers went to the hospital, and now we're going to pay senators, these 8 senators that I have called out, we're going to pay them millions of dollars instead of providing any money to the veterans, instead of providing any money to the children, to the families. It is outrageous, and it is horrible. And I also appreciate that you have sponsored a similar amendment, and I think there are going to be multiples of these because we all recognize how horrible they are, and Republicans recognize, but they think they have no power when they have power. How dare they? Representative Subbaraman, why don't you say a little bit more about this concept that they can't do anything?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll just say there's 8 right now. There's been a couple others that have come forward and said, wait, what about my payout? And so they're actually going to, this might expand past 8, actually. But thank you for reading the names and calling this out. But yes, all we have to do is vote for one of these amendments that we're putting forward to strip this bill of this provision and take away this corrupt scheme by these Republican senators and send it back to the Senate and put it on the floor for them to vote for. Are they going to continue the shutdown so that they can line their pockets with tens of millions of dollars potentially? That's really up to them. That's really up to them, right? And so let's make them take that vote. If you truly care, if you truly believe that this is corrupt, you will vote for this amendment and you will send this bill back to the Senate if you truly believe this is corrupt. If not, then you seem to not have a problem with this. This is your chance right now.
Right. And I want to thank you, Representative, for pointing out how much money has been wasted by President Trump. You forgot to mention his golf trips. Like, he just took one, $10 million. Like, the American taxpayers are paying $10 million every time he goes, decides to go and golf, when we paid for his trip to Scotland. And it's this kind of contrast that the American public is seeing. The American public is seeing that they're not willing to provide tax credits for working families and small businesses, and you all described powerfully what that means in your communities. But they're willing to let him send $40 billion to Argentina. They're willing to let him spend taxpayer dollars on his golf trips. And you want to say something?
No, I wanted to talk a little about your payola issue. I remember when Republicans raged against earmarks. I mean, some of us have been around here long enough. And I mean when we had bills that had provisions that helped a specific member's constituents. And we had some Republicans that would rage against them. And what we have here is an earmark on steroids. I mean, forget about the constituents. This money, hundreds of thousands of dollars, possibly millions of dollars, goes directly to specific Republican senators. And most Republicans are just going to say, oh, well, what can we do? We just have to move on. Trump is trying to get hundreds of millions from the Department of Justice. So now I guess we have some senators who want their cut, and my Republican friends just seem to be all okay with it. I mean, this is corrupt, and it is disgusting. And at some point, I mean, people have to be willing to stand up, develop a backbone, and say, no, we're not going along with this. I thank the gentlelady.
Yeah, it's about courage versus corruption. And what we are asking Republicans to do is to have the courage to vote against the corruption that's in this provision. We might disagree on, clearly, Madam Chairwoman, we disagree on the benefits of the Affordable Care Act. I've told you earlier, I think it's wonderful because I'm a cancer survivor and have pre-existing condition. I needed the Affordable Care Act. I love the fact that I could keep my kids. I'm also pretty much a single mom with regards to 3 kids, right, who are going to college now, getting their degrees, and I could keep them on the Affordable Care Act.